Start.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Apologize for the delay in getting started. It is the June 11th facilities meeting. We're Zoom today, as every day. Just as a reminder, this is virtual, so please use the raise hand feature if you'd like to say anything at the appropriate time, and this is being recorded. So without further ado, we're going to get right into the agenda, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lill.
Hey, good morning. Let me just double check the agenda here because the first item would actually be the list of bills. And I will pinch hit for Mr. Orlando. And are there any questions on the list of bills?
Shayna or Curry, does anybody have any questions to share? Okay, I have one question, which is if we could just go over the Whistler attachment, just to point out some of the expenses.
Yeah.
And how does this compare with a typical monthly expense?
It's pretty reasonable to what typically we have. Varies from month to month. Maybe a little bit higher than last month, but it's usually in that ballpark, 60 to $70,000 all in. It's a little bit higher this month just because we have some other costs that we normally don't incur. But it's normal services.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there are no other questions from the board, I think we'll move through the agenda, and then as we're ready to take public question, we'll do that towards the end.
So I'm sorry, we normally would do comment or questions after each item for
Okay.
the list. So but I don't see any hands, but I just wanted to remind you.
Thank you for clarifying. Okay.
Yep.
In that case, if there are any questions after each agenda item, we will take those questions with a hand raise. Thank you. So we'll move on to the purchasing report.
Okay, good morning. I'll start with the actually I have the first four items, so I'll start with them one by one. First item is a cost to air condition the gymnasium at Gladwin Elementary School. This is something we want to physically get done over this upcoming summer. And in order to get air conditioning in that gymnasium, we need to have a mechanical contractor install some large piping to connect the HVAC unit in currently in the Gladwin gym to the chilled water system that is used to air condition that building and that connects it to the chillers, etc. So what we did in this situation is we went out to three contractors with CoStar's contracts. That's one of the various purchasing consortiums that we utilize. Out of those three, two responded, and we are recommending that the pricing from Flanagan Mechanical Services LLC to air condition the gymnasium at Gladwin Elementary School under CoStar's Project 008 E25-1580 be approved in the amount of $64,525. If this is approved by the board in June on Monday night, we would have Flanagan's crews in there probably late July, early August to get all the work done before teachers return in late August. Would you like me to move on to number two?
I had a quick question. Is this replacing the system, or is that gym is currently not air conditioned and we're adding air conditioning?
That gym is currently not air conditioned.
Oh my.
And
okay.
We were able to figure out a way to, without getting into the engineering details, which I love, but getting the specifics is there's basically a unit that provides ventilation air, which will heat the gym in the wintertime. We figured out a way to fit a cooling coil in there. So this is kind of like a add-on, if you will, to the existing equipment so that now that piece of equipment will also have cooling capabilities. And we just had to get piping connected and also had to insulate the existing ductwork. So this is like a additional capacity being added to existing equipment and existing systems, if that makes sense.
That's fantastic. Most of our gyms do have air conditioning, though. This isn't an anomaly.
At the elementary level, not all of the gyms are air conditioned.
Okay, I'll speak for me and think that's a great idea to add it, and wherever that's possible in any of the other ones, sounds like a good idea there, because we would like to, the world's only getting hotter, and I would like to not cook small children on gym day.
So,
Great. And everyone
Jim,
loves giving an engineer an assignment. We love that stuff for technical tasks. It's great. Thank you.
so I guess I have two real quick questions, so
Mhm.
we can keep them short answers. One, so why is Gladwin prioritized if it's not the only one that doesn't have air? What are the other ones that don't have air? And then two, just assuming that Gladwin doesn't have a summer program in it. That's why we're able to do it. And I guess three, that was like a twofer, sorry. Three
Mhm.
is, do you worry that there's a $44,000 gap between those two bids? I mean, I know bids can come in ridiculously high sometimes, so I'm just assuming without three, we're just looking at one high bid.
Yeah.
That's a
Tim, I'll take the
three.
first one. I'll
Great.
let
Thanks.
you do the other one.
Great.
So
Great. Thank you.
the,
Thank you.
the reason we're prioritizing Gladwin is, if you'll remember, I shared with the board some air quality questions that we had some testing done, and the mustiness smell that people have reported to us. We noticed that, and after our audit and investigations, that's a big area of humidity. So we wanted to make sure that that space was conditioned with the air both in the winter and the summer. And then I'll turn it over to Jim to answer the other two questions.
Excellent.
Sure.
Thank you for connecting those dots.
Thanks, Dr. Anelli. The question about, are there any summer programs at Gladwin? The answer is no. The ESY and SPIES at the elementary level are going to be housed at Penn Valley. So we do have basically Gladwin will be the custodial staff, and then also the principal. And actually, that HVAC system is not affected. The last question was about the price gap. We had anticipated this was going to be around a $70,000, $80,000 price, and we put together some pretty detailed and specific drawings so that the contractors kind of know how to connect point A to point B. Honestly, that $108,800, that's just very high. I think 64,000 is a very good fair market value for the work, and I think we're getting a pretty good outcome in terms of having that gym air conditioned for a pretty efficient, pretty reasonable price. So we're pretty happy with how things are going so far.
Great. And thank you, Dr. Rinelli. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure that was connecting the dots. So really appreciate that extra information.
Thank you. Are there any questions are we going to finish the whole purchasing report, or do we want to ask individually from the community?
I do not have any raised hands.
Okay. If everyone's okay, we can move on to the next item.
This is a request to purchase two floor scrubbers. This is custodial equipment that the custodians operate. They actually stand on this type of equipment. We have that at every school building, at least one, if not more. We're in a situation right now where the equipment at both Gladwin and Penn Valley have reached their end of life and are beyond useful serviceable repair. So we have to keep those things up to date, and this is the next two that need to be replaced and then put into service before the next school year for the custodial staff to keep the buildings clean during the next school year.
Any questions from our co-board members? Okay, that one seems straightforward. Thank you very much. I think we can move to the third.
All right, thank you. Just checking my notes here. This is a boiler upgrade. We want to do this during the cooling season. So 1165 Massiford Road is our transportation depot. There is a boiler in the basement of that building, and we recently had basically a mechanical failure of that boiler. And the unit that was in place was under warranty. However, it's not a bumper to bumper type warranty where they're going to give you a whole new boiler. So after filing the warranty claim, basically we're getting a $28,000 boiler for $22,420. So we're recommending one heating boiler upgrade at Massiford Road under that COSARS consortium in the amount of $22,420.
I have a question. So this is the same brand of boiler that just failed?
Correct. And the reason we are staying with that manufacturer, and I've already told our staff to start shopping for other options, we basically are getting that warranty credit, which we wouldn't get if we decide to pull the plug on these guys. And also, everything in the boiler room is already piped and kind of roughed in, if you will, so that bringing this new piece of equipment in is kind of more of a drop in place versus having to reconfigure everything to get, another manufacturer in there.
How long do we usually expect this kind of thing to last?
They should last 10 to 15 years, but something happened in a manufacturing defect that caused the burner on this one to go bad.
And how old was it?
About 2 years old.
Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. So, in terms of giving you direction for your engineering brain, if we could start budgeting for replacing that at whatever point that needs to happen, clearly we should look for other options. I think that's a good idea.
We've used this manufacturer at many locations, schools included, and it's been extremely reliable until this one. So, we certainly want to make sure we're getting quality equipment. This is very disappointing, but in fairness, it was the first time.
It is disappointing that they wouldn't cover what was obviously a manufacturer defect on an expensive purchase, but
they covered the part that failed, but the other parts of it, they just specifically focused on the component that failed, let alone the rest of the box.
And we can't replace just the component?
No, not the way it went down.
Okay. Frustrating, but necessary.
Frustrating. I think that's a very good description. So that is item number 3 for that boiler. And just because the fourth one is also mine, I'll just keep going with the momentum. This is a request to purchase an equipment trailer. We have various man lifts and other building maintenance equipment that needs to be moved from building to building. We don't have a lift at every school. We move those around where our mechanics need them. And this trailer is replacing an existing trailer that's about 15 to 20 years old and also has reached end of life, and also starting to get concerned that the current trailer may not pass inspection. So we're asking for approval to purchase a heavy-duty equipment trailer in the amount of $23,959.99. And that's the 4 items that fall under facilities for this month.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the co-board members on number 4?
Sorry, I'm just going to say one beat on 3. I promise not to be long on this. A system failure in 2 years feels like a kind of a liability on their part. So I'm sure you've done your due diligence on it, and Vic's going to tell me no on this, but it doesn't fall under kind of, this is not the right word for it, but it's probably not worth it on the insurance claim. But 2 years for a $30,000 piece of equipment, and it doesn't fall under like homeowners insurance or something to that. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, like $30,000 for a full systems replacement of the equipment, and it's not. FW Webb is a good company. It's more the boiler upgrade. I mean, we just replaced that piece of equipment.
Yeah, Carrie, to answer your question, we did talk to the insurance company. It's not covered, a failure like this in 2 years isn't covered under our insurance. So it's only whatever the warranty is. Like Jim said, there is a warranty and we're getting some credit. And that's the best we can do for this piece of equipment, fortunately.
That's so frustrating. Okay, sorry.
Is there a lemon law for this kind of thing, like there is for cars, or is that only specifically for certain kinds of products?
Oh, I wish there was. No, unfortunately, each manufacturer has their warranty, and unfortunately, the concept of a bumper to bumper warranty, it's, if the transmission goes in your car, they're going to replace the transmission, but they're not actually going to give you a whole new car. It's a little bit different when you're dealing with a piece of equipment that, you have to have labor to remove it and put it back in. So it's a frustrating scenario. And fortunately, we have, skilled HVAC guys that can get in there this summer and do the work and get them back up and running, so that they have heat before the next. I can't believe we're talking about getting heating equipment up and running on the day it was going to hit 95. But obviously, this is the time of year that we want to get the heating system back online in advance of next year's heating system.
Thank you. That is very frustrating, and I've dealt with it as a homeowner. If we can, are we going to move on to number 5 now?
Yes. Yes.
Great. Thank
Number
you, Mr.
5
Orlando.
is nutritional service equipment. As I mentioned in the past, particularly at the elementary level, our equipment is over 25 years old, and they need to be replaced. We've repaired as much as we can, but there's parts are no longer available. So we went out for bid, as I mentioned, I think the last couple meetings, there'll be a larger bid. And you can see we have 3 different vendors, and you can see the different equipment from ovens, the dishwashers, the serving lines, and refrigerators, and so forth on the purchasing report. And again, the majority of this is all at the elementary level. There are a few items at the high school level, some like the merchandiser and a couple ovens that we need to replace at the high schools. I believe the high schools are 16 and 17 years old now. So they need to be replaced. So we have 3 vendors that submitted bids that was open on June 4th. And you can see Culinary Depot is being recommended to be awarded $163,286.18. 11,400 in the amount of $221,847.31. And Singer at $86,043.75 for a total amount of $471,177.24. And that will be paid out of the food service fund. Mr. Hussein and I have been working on this, planning for this, that we would have this, the funds available, which we do at the food service fund. So we're asking the board to approve these purchases that we hope to get them in and operating before the start of next school year. At least that is the plan. And if you have any questions, feel free to answer that. And also Mr. Hussein is available for any more specific questions.
Thank you. I have a question, just a general question. Is this budgeted, this replacement cost?
Yeah, as I said before, in the food service fund, we have been planning to put this money aside for this purchase. We knew, again, these are over 25-year-old pieces of equipment that, we've been very fortunate that our skilled labor folks have been able to keep them running and replace the parts, but the parts are no longer available. After you get over a quarter century, there's just not much more parts. But yes, we have the money to put aside for that.
Yeah, when you break it down into century quarters, it's compelling. Yeah. Are there any other questions from my co-board members?
When we say this is budgeted for, does that money, where does just like how, if you could give like a quick overview of how the Nutritional Services Fund gets funded, if that, because I know that is a different financial pot from the rest of school board governance. Like, is it all from money that kids pay for school breakfast, school lunch? Is it from the state? Is it federal? How do we get money into that budget pot?
All 3 of those. So we have the free and reduced lunch, that we get money from the federal and state government. We also have free breakfast, so we get that from the state as subsidy. And then also as families pay for, the lunch. They put money into their account and they put put the PIN number in and they pay for it. So all 3 of those sources are how we fund the food service. We just have been fortunate the last few years that we were able to put some aside. We've been able to revenues exceed our expenditures, put money aside and budget for this large purchase.
Okay, thank you.
Are these considered capital? Vic, my 90% capital questions.
Some of them will fall and be depreciated.
Capitalized? Okay.
Yeah, some will, yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the community?
I do not see any raised hands.
Okay. And thank you very much. I think we are ready to move on to the district contracts with Mr. Weinstein and Ms. Fraser.
May I please interrupt?
Yes.
I think you have to say, are we willing to move these forward?
Sorry about that. Are we
If you
willing
didn't
to
do it for
move?
those, the bills, do it for that.
Oh, thank you. Apologize, everybody. Are we, we'll back up to the list of bills. Are we comfortable moving forward to as a recommendation to the general board?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Great. And for the purchasing report we just heard?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. LaPera. And now we will get started with the district contracts from Mr. Weinstein and Ms. Fraser.
Thanks, Mr. Rubin. I'm going to do a high-level overview. All of these were presented previously in more depth in CCOB, but there are 10 contracts here. 8 of them are annual renewals. The first one is a middle school resource that supports all middle school curriculum, and that's for social studies. The second one is Cengage, which is one of our large databases for the library. The third one is Wayside Publishing, which supports French. At the middle school level, it is a teacher-only access. At the high school, it supports video and listening for the three major components of speaking world language, which is writing, listening, and speaking. The two edmeniums were presented previously, one earlier grades, and then they support PSSA reading and tests, and then also middle school as well from Drew Gingrich, who's on the call with us. Next is active chemistry, which is used primarily as a supplementary resource in our AP Chem classes. JuiceMind supports our computer science programs, and that's a core resource we use in our computer science classes. ProQuest is another library database. McGraw-Hill was presented by Drew Gingrich in April CCOB, and that was a textbook purchase that comes with digital resources. That's primarily our textbook purchases for Global 1 and Global 2, and then Turnitin as a longstanding plagiarism platform that we use for students that turn papers in. And they are the 10, and I'll pause for questions.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board?
Sorry, hang on. Apologies. Sorry, I did not mean to cough as soon as I unmuted myself. I just wanted to ask Mr. Weinstein. I remember at last month's business board meeting, we had some students that were talking about or questioning the fidelity of Turnitin, and I was just wondering if we had sort of a procedure for students to appeal or discuss when a resource like Turnitin will report back that there has been some sort of not authentic writing submitted, and they believe they have, or they assert that they have spent that time completing it themselves. I was wondering what that process is for our students.
Sure. And I remember that meeting, and they presented really well. I was really impressed by their presentations, and I think they shared eloquently that process of that feeling after going through so much research and so much writing. So they definitely expressed themselves well. It's the topic across the country right now. They were speaking specifically about AI detection, which are known to be not accurate, which is part of our policy. And we had this evolution of that I think most schools across the country went through and are still going through, which include at first we believed in that AI detection, and it wasn't really. And then we were in that process of arguing with students about their academic integrity, and the evolution of that went through us. And where we've pivoted to has been sometimes when that detection is real high, we're not going to say that this isn't your work, but we are still in the process of saying, hey, this is written in a robotic way where it was flagged, and there may be additional questions that we have for you. And right now, that's kind of the current practice that we're doing, done really sensitively, because you certainly don't want to put somebody through young people when they're doing their own work and questioning that. So it has been a delicate topic that Drew Gingrich is leading really well, and our teachers are taking really seriously. And there's not always like I think it's more how you do it than necessarily what you do. Originally, it was this fight of the detection going off, and now it's this process of talk me through what your work is. And I think that's here to stay to some level in the age of AI. And it's just a matter of refining that and doing it better. And I think we've grown a whole lot in that area. not to the point where kids didn't come and express eloquently how it feels when being questioned about it.
I really appreciate everything you just said, especially the like, we had this situation, we thought it was one way, we heard feedback, and we could see how what we were doing wasn't the best approach. We adapted our approach. Nothing is perfect, and we're doing the best I can. I really appreciate throughout all of the AI stuff, the highlighting the humanity of it all and working with our students. And I think that's a really great solution. I would just encourage all our teachers to make sure that students understand that if that's flagged, that they have that recourse to say, yeah, here's a copy of the 3 drafts that I did on the road to this. And a note to students to save your drafts. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Sounds like good teaching, right? It's like
I think this will be a preview of many conversations to come in teaching and learning in the age of AI, and doing that in a way that, taking a polarizing topic and being really transparent about what we're doing and doing it with people. And it's that topic won't go away. It's just a matter of continuing to learn and be on the front edge of doing that well, making sure kids are learning what they need to learn in a different time.
and just so I understand, when when it says under solicitor review, that's just like final contract review, correct?
It is, and I think what's holding there's a bunch of them there.
Yeah.
One, we want to make sure that it's we feel good about it. Two, I think a lot of this may be the WCAG guidelines that we're questioning and making sure they have, and companies trying to keep up with that and making sure. And I think that's what's held a lot of these up.
What's that acronym mean?
WCAG.
It's the website content accessibility guidelines.
Okay.
I have a question as well. For Cengage and ProQuest, just to clarify, so Cengage is more teacher. What is the difference? Because it looks like ProQuest is more more student facing, and Cengage has both. I'm just curious if there's any overlap or.
Sure. Thank you for asking that. And I'm gonna introduce Drew, who's unmuting.
Perfect. So they do serve different roles. So ProQuest is going to be more of the where the academic articles, historical content is accessible for students. So when you think about those traditional user-facing research tools, where Cengage, the Galen context, what it really does is it actually, especially as we're looking to decrease some of our digital resources that we're using, and we're continuing with some of our online textbooks, Galen Context does a great job of taking content across content areas. I'll speak specifically to ELA and social studies, and says, here's this topic that is being discussed, or here's this text that's being used, and here are a variety of tools and resources that actually create rich text sets that provide students with resources that build background knowledge, provide students with resources, or teachers with resources to share with students, resources that maybe add texture or context to a novel that's being studied, or to more fully develop and fully explore specific social studies topics. So they function, I'd say the Galen context functions much more curricularly, and the ProQuest is going to function much more as a research tool.
Thank you very much for clarifying.
Absolutely.
So is Cengage replacing a former, because Cengage sounds like a secondary, not a secondary, a secondary tertiary source, where ProQuest is the primary source, where it's ProQuest is what I used when I did my research for master's and doctorate.
Yep.
It's real research. And Cengage sounds more like, and I can't remember the name of the tool before, but it's articles that, they're reading.
Yes.
Real research, and then saying, I'm going to extrapolate for kids a different version of it for a younger audience. Not always to my favorite. I have to be honest, sometimes when they extrapolate to a younger audience, they sometimes cut out the nuance of the content.
Yep.
So sometimes for people in a scholarly field, you're like, oh, that's not actually how it worked, and can be, and we've had other resources. So is this moving away from a different resource that we've had in the past and to a more robust resource? Are we walking away from something and using this instead? This is a new product tool that I haven't heard us engage with before, or is it just new to me?
So it is a resource that we've had. It is something that's,
Okay.
existed and been in practice in the district. I think what we have is a really rich opportunity to, I'll use global study as like we just purchased those textbooks and it's up on the list of purchase for purchasing now. Something we did there that was a switch is a lot of the digital components, especially for social studies, is it's textbook companies are curating primary and secondary content for students to explore in addition to the textbook. So what we're really doing with our Cengage program, the Gale in Context, is using that as a hub that really houses primary and secondary sources that can exist 9 through 12. So it isn't like when we buy global studies and then we buy those digital resources, which are really expensive, we get caught in a loop of needing to renew these resources every 6 years or so when the cycle comes up. Cengage, the Gale in Context, allows us to have these curated primary, secondary sources that teachers are able to use and pull from for regardless of their content area. So I think what it actually does is it gives us more, it gives us a vetted resource with rich resources that we can use across content areas. And I think it actually empowers us to step away from some of our digital resources, specifically in social studies.
That's helpful. Thank you. And for, we're in thick into, as you well know, thick into the conversation around technology and use. All of these are able to be printed as well. Because as the writing my doctorate, I was the tree killer of all the ProQuest articles because I physically needed to print everything out and move them around as I was trying to write chapters 2 and 3. And so our students are able to print out these articles to be able to read them physically in place, as well as having them online and can tag them in their own digital library, correct?
Correct.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Curry, for mentioning that, because I was going to ask that we could balance the cost of printing, and I know that that is not free, with the cost of our eyes and our attention. So printing off these digital resources is something I'd love to hear more about, being kind of encouraged. So thank you for bringing that up. Are there any questions from the community?
I do not see any raised hands.
Okay. If we are okay moving this forward, can you thumbs up?
Yes.
Okay, and I think we can move on to our next agenda item.
Do you want me to
Thank
talk
you.
about the one for student services?
Yeah, I was going to say there's
Oh,
one
I'm
more on
sorry.
the list.
I'm sorry, Miss
Okay.
Fraser. I'm sorry. My screen didn't. I apologize for that. Yes,
No,
please do.
No worries. And I will be fast because I previewed this for you all for last month as well. The only thing on for student services this month is Naviance. It is a 1 year only, intended to be to support in the transition from Naviance to SCORE, which we've already talked about. If you recall from previous conversations, the district is required to have career and college readiness activities for students from grades K to 12, and we have to do artifact collecting for that. And the transition period will really allow for us to transition our artifacts over to the new system. But it also allows for like our rising seniors who are at a really critical point and they're planning for their next steps to not have a disruption in that from one system to another. So that's the intention of having the 1 year overlap.
So is it a 1 year overlap for everybody who currently, for all of the students in the district, or is it just that, are we just maintaining it for the current seniors or current rising seniors?
No, it's for your high school, your current high school students who are rising, because again, we've got to move artifacts over too. And so for those students, there's a component of the transition. And we will not set the current, the rising seniors up on SCORE.
Is the transition a thing that the students have to do, or that the staff is doing, or that we can press a button and it can slurp from one service to the other?
It's more on the staffing end of it.
Okay. So in the fall, say a rising junior, will they have access to Naviance, or will they just have SCORE and Naviance, their counselors or whatever will do that transition for them already.
Yeah, they'll work through SCORE with their counselor.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Kimberly. I think you explained this pretty clearly in the last board meeting. I can't remember time and place when we discussed it, but it was quite helpful.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the community?
No, there's not.
Okay. Apologize for pushing through that. All right. So we're still good to go, everyone? Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Mr. Weinstein and Ms. Fraser and Mr. Gingrich and everybody else who's on from the curriculum staff. I think we are ready to move on to the pools contract.
Yes, so I am pool management. They have been managing the community pool that we have at Lower Merion High School since we opened it back in 2011. Their current 3-year contract is expiring this year, so the recommendation is to enter into another 3-year contract. The current contract, which is the same for the last 3 years, has been $46,140. There is a $9,600 increase to $55,740, which is about a 20% increase. Unfortunately, we did try to find other management companies. There's really no other companies that do this for school districts. They're really the only game in town. They've done a satisfactory job. The AD at Lower Merion is very satisfied with the work. So recommendation is continue with them. What they do is they actually there's a list of different items, all the testing, the chemicals, cleaning, managing the pool, all the admin, check individuals from the community, make sure they have paid their fees and everything, and also for the senior citizens. So they do maintain and manage the whole pool. There are a couple other items that we do pay on an hourly basis. The supervisor, which currently is $20, will go up to $23. The lifeguards, which are $17 an hour, will go up to $18.50. And again, they have not increased their price in 3 years. So the recommendation is continue with them for another 3 years.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the board? Okay. Any questions from the community?
No, there's not.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Orlando. I think we're okay moving this forward.
Yes.
Next.
Next one is the White Marsh Boat Club, which is also known as the Hines Rowing, to lease their facility for the Lower Merion High School crew team. And we've used this facility historically for several decades, probably now, at Lower Merion High School. The contract is $47,910. It is a 4.6% increase over the current year, and the recommendations continue with them for another year at Hines Rowing.
This is only for LM, not Harridan. Harridan comes out of another boathouse, correct?
That is correct.
And does the funding for this come out of the Lower Merion school budget, or is this something that's raised in club fees? How is this paid for?
The lease fees for both of the crew teams is paid out of the athletic fund, out of the general operating fund.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, taking notes. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Any other questions from the community?
No, there's not.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I think we're okay moving this one forward.
And the next one is the mainline school night for the fall semester coming up. As you know, they use Lower Merion High School on Tuesday nights, I believe from like 5:30 to say 10 to conduct their adult learning courses. So this is us continuing them for another for the fall to use 35 rooms at Lower Merion High School. So we're recommending the board to approve this agreement.
Is it the same rate that we've used in the past?
It's like 2 or 3% higher. We usually adjust it just for inflation, like 2 or 3%.
Yeah, that's all I was concerned about, because I know in the current economic state, things like utilities is just costing us more money. So I'm not looking to make more money just to cover our expenses. So that's
and in the fall they use it's 9 nights versus the spring's only 8, so it's a little bit more. You look back, it's a little more expensive. We use it for another session. That's all.
okay. Great,
And this
thank
is
you.
just to make sure all the board members know this. This is reviewed pretty detailedly in the last year in policy. So there's a whole entire policy on this too.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to also just appreciate, I was looking through it and I saw that the update or the AR 713, which had the update about e-bikes and e-scooters was listed as well. So thank you for reflecting that and for moving on that. Are there any other questions from the community?
No, there's not.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're okay moving this one forward. Great. And we will move on to Right at School.
Okay, it looks like I get to jump in here. We have had Right at School as our before and after care operator for a few years. They have been in all of our elementary schools and offering those services to families. This is so this addendum shouldn't look much different than it did last year, other than to include an expansion of those services, provided we get the enrollment for it, to our middle schools. And those services, though, will be aftercare at each of our middle schools, which they are poised to offer this fall and have advertised that opportunity for families. Our enrollment is still pretty low, so we're not sure whether all of those will be able to run, but that is a new offering and that is incorporated into this updated addendum for this year.
Thank you for your work on this, Megan.
Credit other team members as well for pushing this forward.
Well, this was a lot of work with full day K,
Sure.
elementary change. And this is a long time coming. So you did a lot of work on this. So you can take the credit too.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I know this will be I think this will be a really welcome option. I just wanted to clarify, I was looking through and I can't find it now, but I thought that it had said that it would be before and after in middle school, but maybe it was edited. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah, that was just an error in our internal communication about what it was supposed to say.
Sure.
So that was updated. So the version that's posted specifies that it's just aftercare at the middle school.
Perfect.
And that's what we're working
Perfect.
with.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And I echo the appreciation. Thank you for making it happen.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from any other board members? Shane, I didn't know if you had a question. Any other questions from the community on this?
Yeah, there's not.
Okay, thank you very much. We can, I think, move this forward. Thank you. And now we can move on to roofing.
Yes, thank you. As the board is aware, there is a substantial roof project phase 2 at Battle Kinwood that will take place this summer, and then so a handful of other projects, large projects, coming in the immediately following years. When we do those roof projects in the summer, the operations department acts as the construction manager. We have those skills. We handle the work and make sure that they get done. They do the work properly and they get it done before the teachers return. However, with roofing, there's a vast number of systems, techniques, processes, and an expertise that we need to build up within our department that we currently don't have after the retirement of Mr. Pitts. And we want to be able to utilize a roofing consultant, an independent consultant, not a roof manufacturer or contractor, and make sure we have the right quality controls, and also as we embark on future roof projects that we're getting the right materials and having those done as efficiently and effectively as possible for long-term benefit. So basically, this is a master agreement for professional services. We have many of these with various types of consultants and architects, and basically we give them task orders to perform certain tasks, and basically it's charged us on a time material basis with a not to exceed. So this would provide on-call services for us to have those resources available to us, not just this summer, but as we go on with roofs. Whether they're major replacements or just we got a roof leak, we just can't seem to resolve and want to get another set of eyes on it for their expertise. So we're asking for an approval of the master agreement. That's just the terms and conditions between the school district and any of the engineering or architectural consultants, and then a not to exceed approval of $10,000 for them to start helping us out as needed. Any questions? Okay. I also have the next item, and spoiler alert, it also involves a roof. This summer, as I stated, we are doing the roof at Balkenwood Middle School. That contract was previously approved by the board. Everything contract-wise is in order and in place, and they're actually starting with Mr. Copeland, and they're getting some of the prep work together, and they're been on the roof just kind of going through some details in advance of when they mobilize. They won't be able to go out there until the students leave. Now, what happens over the course of a summer, occasionally, not always, there will be something that comes up as an unforeseen condition or something on a construction project that would require a change order, which does require school board approval. However, when you look at the timeline of a roof project or any summer project, we basically cut them loose in mid-June and basically try to get them out of there by mid-August, if at all possible. There is no school board meeting in July, and we didn't want to have any type of gap where if a change order came up, we had things stuck, if you will, for the approval process. So this is something that's actually appeared on board agendas for the past several Junes, where the administration requests pre-approval to authorize change orders up to, in the aggregate, $100,000, and then based on basically the superintendent having that authorization after everything is approved and the contract can move forward, get it done in a timely fashion, not hold up the project. We would then bring any paperwork to the board for ratification at the next available school board meeting so it can be officially endorsed. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, I have
Yes.
a question. So, in the event that the full amount is not, up to $100,000 is not used, what happens? Is that just sort of a permission slip to use the funds? It's not like the funds are earmarked and put away for this?
Correct. We're ideal. The goal is zero change orders, project gets done, and
Right.
smooth sailing. We're not actually handing the contractor another $100,000. We're not actually making any type of financial transaction in advance. We just need the ability to sign the necessary contract paperwork to tell the contractor, yes, we acknowledge this work on this roof drain or whatever the case may be is above and beyond what was in your contract. Therefore, we acknowledge that's additional money that needs to be paid to you. And here's your approval, if you will. And also, commitment contractually that we'll pay them the extra 5, 10, 15,000, and they're comfortable going ahead and doing the work, but it doesn't actually liquidate any funds specifically until we get to a specific transaction that we would take to Dr. Ranelli and say, okay, yeah, that's extra work. We agree. Let's pay them the extra 10,000 and get it done while they're up there, and bring it to the board after the fact. Because by the time we get to the August facilities and purchasing, we're really hoping that roof is close to complete.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
And just to clarify, Mr. Lill, this would be something that if you had to have a change order that was over that $7,500 threshold, that the board would then need to approve, that would pay, obviously we would be obligated to pay money that was spent, but that would then would still require to be on the board approval for the August business meeting, correct?
As a ratification, it would come up
Yes.
either August or September. So we have the approval in advance, but we would then come back to you and ask you to ratify it, because it does state in the contract the only authority that has the authority or the authority to issue to manage.
Yeah, the board is the only one who
is the
can
board.
sign off on it.
Yes, that they are the ones that have the authority to make a revision. So that's how the contract's set up. So we're just staying compliant. We reviewed this with council a year or two ago, and this is not uncommon. I've done this in other districts. It
Or
keeps
just
everything going
designated
up and up.
survivor for 1 month in just case of emergency.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
So, yeah,
We've done this since we haven't had
We
July board meetings.
Yeah, it just to clarify in context, other roofing projects, we've done the same type of motion in case unforeseen situation comes out with the project continue without having to basically stop it. And that's what we're just asking for. And then you're correct. There will be, if there's any type of change order, it will come to the board for ratification, and we'll notify the board ahead of time prior to that. This is what's going to happen.
It just has everything pre-approved so that we have a clean system to keep the project moving forward. It's in a case of emergency break glass type of thing.
Thank you for clarifying all of that. Do we have any other questions from the community?
No, we do not.
Okay, I think we're okay moving this forward. Okay, thank you very much. And we can move on to the Mr. Catalano with the CIS stuff.
Good morning. This is the first of 6 motions I have on the agenda this morning. The first one is a renewal of our Albert sensors. This will provide intrusion detection and system monitoring by the Center for Internet Security. We've had these for quite some time. This is a 1-year renewal of these sensors that monitor all the traffic in and out, and it gives us 24/7 monitoring of that traffic for cybersecurity purposes. And it's the exact same price as last year.
When you say in and out, could you just clarify in and out of what?
So it sits at the edge of our internet, and any traffic that comes in and out of the district is monitored 24/7 for intrusion detection, malware, viruses, things of that nature. And for cybersecurity purposes, all that traffic is monitored by the Albert sensors at the edge.
Are there any other questions from the board? Okay, any questions from the community?
Yeah, there's not.
Okay, thank you. I think we can move this forward and move on to smart panels.
So the second one, we've installed 80 panels at BC, and we're in the process next week of installing 89 panels at Welsh Valley. We have 52 panels at BlackRock. They do not have the same functionality as the panels we just installed at BC and Welsh Valley. This will upgrade the panels that we have at BlackRock to give the teachers the same functionality, to give us equity across the 3 middle schools. So the teachers will have the same ability, excuse me, to log into the smart panels with the cards we provide to give them quick access and make it the same across all 3 buildings.
Thank you. And I think this may have been asked, but I don't remember. What is happening with the old panels? What happens there?
There's interactive projectors currently in there. We're taking the ones that are still functional and bringing them here to 55 for parts for the existing projectors that are within the buildings. And the ones that are in BC and Welsh Valley are coming up on 10 years old. So we're going to recycle them for parts and see if we can get some additional money to go back into the budget. But the ones we can keep and repurpose the parts for, we'll use for the existing projectors still within the district.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
So it doesn't feel like too long ago. We just put them in BlackRock. So how often does the systems should be upgraded?
So when they were originally put into BlackRock, they didn't have this. It's called an AMD60. It's a little box that goes on the side of the panel that gives the teacher with a smart card the ability to quickly log in, have all their content on the board, and not waste any time. And we just wanted equity across the 3 buildings. This is a new technology that came about a couple years ago. Technology things move fast. We just wanted everything to be the same across the board. And we thought it's still $26,000, but we wanted to have them the same across the board. And we thought for equity purposes, this was important.
It's just technically equality, not equity. But I get your point. But we don't always have it's equal across the board, but we don't always have to be the highest level. I think this might be an interesting conversation to say, like, when do we stay on the cutting edge and when are we a really good quality, and that's also good too.
If we weren't putting these new panels in, this is probably something we wouldn't do. It's
Thank
just
you.
simply because we put it in the other 2. We thought it was important to have all 3.
Yeah, I think that's helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And actually, another question, is there a way to track usage of this in the same way that there is of one-to-one devices, like internet usage and what it's being used on these boards?
The smart panels do have a reporting feature in the back end where we can push out updates and things of that nature. I have not explored the reporting features within the smart panel interface, but it's something we could look into to see what kind of metrics we can get out of the system.
That'd be great. Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board or community? I don't see any hands, and I don't think so. So I think, are we okay moving this forward?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And we will move on to iBoss.
This is a 1-year renewal of our existing web filter iBoss platform. And it's simply a renewal of what we are currently using as our web filter. As we look at potentially changing filters or implementing new programs across the board, we need a filter in place for next year. So we want to renew the current filter for 1 year.
Question. And Dr. Rinaldi, this might be for you. The team has been putting in place like stronger filters and more robust work. So is this identically the same filter, or are there additional filters? Is this been beefed up? Could you give us a little context on that?
Filter person, not me.
This is the same filter we've been using. We've been making enhancements to our iBoss filter, adding SSL decryption, blocking known gaming sites, enhancing the filtering content, changing more categories, really locking it down. It's the same product we've been using as we're evaluating other products currently.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the community? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
that's fine.
Okay. Shayna, did you have any questions? Okay.
I did not have any questions. I just wanted to add my little anecdotal stuff that as we hear things, I have about certain websites, I've gone up to Mr. Catalano at the end of board meetings and said, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I get an explainer each time of how things were gone around, what was added to the filtering. And so I just wanted to add my voice for the community so people know that there is a constant group of people who are receiving these reports and who are adding filtering stuff as new sites pop up each day, and it's an ongoing effort that is difficult, but there is work being put in behind the scenes.
Kaylers, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I reiterate, Mr. Catalano does work all day with this. It sparks a lot of conversations, as we know, in the community and as a group and a unit, really a philosophy and an approach, which I'm not going to get into here, but it's a conversations that we have all the time, and hopefully we could approach it differently so it's not a one-off. Let's block this one. Let's block this one. Let's block this. Things like that. So we're working on it, and we know what the issues are.
Thank you. I think we can move on to Presidio.
This is a 1-year renewal of our firewall software and support. This is one more year of support on our existing firewalls with budgeted for next year to replace the firewalls. So this is just a 1-year extension of our current firewalls, software subscription support.
What do you mean replace the firewalls? It's not a physical thing. Can you explain what you mean?
Well, it actually is. We have two physical firewall boxes up at the DAO, and they're coming up on 7 years next year, end of life. So we budgeted to replace them next year. So this is a 1 year. This will be our last year of life of our physical firewalls. We have two of them for redundancy at the DAO.
Very interesting. All right, I learned something new. Thank you.
Had this changed from last year to this year? I mean, now I understand that it'll change next year. And what is that increase next year when we are getting new physical firewalls? And yes, we all learned that the firewalls are now physical. But has there been any difference between last year to this year?
Last year, the support was $187,000. It went up $15,000 this year to $202,000 for the software and support. And like you said, we're hoping to upgrade the firewalls next year, hopefully save a little bit money with The deal, we've been talking back and forth with the company to get quotes, look at what's best fit for us and best financial responsibility.
Was that just inflation or was that changes that we made?
There was no changes, it's just inflation.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. That was my question.
Any other questions from the community or the board?
And there's not.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I muted myself. Okay, I think we can move on to Remind.
This is a 1-year renewal of our Remind software platform. This allows teachers and coaches to communicate with parents and students without exchanging any contact information.
Are there questions from the board? I'm just curious, have we shopped around to see other, comparative apps and things like that we could consider? Is this a competitively priced program for what it is?
I believe Amy and Jess and I looked at Parent Square, but the way they do it, we need to archive everything for 7 years, and Parent Square would not give us the ability with their communication platform to have that distance of archive. Everything we do here needs to be archived for a long period of time, so we have specific needs for when we're looking at software.
Is that
And
7 years policy or is it law?
I believe that's under our retention policy.
Yeah, I believe it's our
And it
policy.
also, the communications also have to, beyond being retained, they have to be searchable. And so it's hard to find platforms that allow that for the text messaging kind of that coaches need to do, oh, the bus is late. I need to tell the team parents that so that it's both retained and searchable.
Oh, and I just want to be clear that I am not saying that this is not a thing that we should do for family privacy and also for student safety and for teacher safety, everybody. This is adults and students shouldn't be exchanging phone numbers. And I absolutely agree that this is an important thing. I was just curious if that was a standard that we as a district held ourselves to or one that the state held us to. So I am pleased to hear that we are setting forth robust standards and holding ourselves to it, even if it costs $37,000 a year.
It looks like the quantity, it's 8,900 per student. So that's for all of the students that are enrolled. And is every student using this, or is every student, unless am I misreading that? Is there a way to get it cheaper for the number of students we have using it? I guess is my question.
I could absolutely look into that. This was what we paid last year.
And I think the accounts are both. I think the accounts go by the number of adult users, but then they look at your total student number as well, because there are like parents on the platform, there are students on the platform, and there are the coaches and teachers on the platform. But yeah, maybe it should be 8,600 instead of 8,900.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I hear that. I hear that there are different ways to kind of to break it up, but I'm just seeing that number just seems a little confusing when not all students are on this app, so or like eligible to be on this app. So I just wanted to just float that out there as a question.
And do we pay per final user or per potential user?
They might do it by your school band. Like they might say the size of your school, you get this rate. That's sometimes how educational things do it, but Amy can look into it. But they might say the size of your school gets this rate. And so sometimes educational programs do it by the size of your school district. And then that. But Amy can look into it and let us know. But because there's sometimes a million parents and the parents are on it. The babysitters on it. So everybody gets notified because whoever's picking up your kid on that day. It is an extremely well used and extremely helpful to keep our kids safe.
But it is possible that that's based on a student number from a couple of years ago when our student numbers were over 8,800. So maybe that's where it was on the original contract and they just kept that the IT team can look into where that number came from, I think.
Thank you very much.
I can
Thank
follow
you.
up with them.
Are there any other questions from our board or from the community? Okay, I think we can move. Thank you. I think we can move to CrowdStrike.
This is my last item. This is for our CrowdStrike retainer. It's there in case
Hang on,
anything.
Bubby.
It's there in case anything happens during the school year. We have the retainer there, and then when we don't use it, hopefully, we use it for a type of proactive exercise. For instance, last year we did red team, blue team, where we had CrowdStrike come in and essentially assess all of our systems, try to break in so we could do real-time exercises to see if there were an event that happened here. It went very well, and we're doing this summer an evaluation of our cloud and identity access procedures. So this is a renewal of our retainer with CrowdStrike for 1 year, as we've been doing over the past.
So for people that are listening to this from the outside and have no idea what CrowdStrike is, could you just give like the 1-2 sentence, what is CrowdStrike?
CrowdStrike is our cybersecurity software platform. It monitors everything we do internally here, gives us real-time updates for any threats. They react to them in real time, 24/7 coverage of everything we do here to keep us safe. They've been wonderful. It's just been a proactive approach to keeping everything within the district safe. And my experience since I've been here has just been phenomenal with CrowdStrike. The exercises we do over the summer, if we don't use the retainer, have been so beneficial to the entire staff to make sure everything's safe. And I've been blown away with the reports. Some of them say that we have the security level of a bank. It's just everything here is really secure, and it's been excellent.
Thank you.
I am absolutely happy to keep this contract. I was just curious, when you do the exercise there, none of the staff or student like personal information or whatever is exposed during that, correct?
No. It's simply looking at the security protocols, and they're good actors. They don't go into any of the data. They're looking to see if they can open a door or get through it. If they happen to get through a door, which I haven't seen happen, they're not going and touching anything. They're simply looking, checking doors, windows, locks, things of that nature.
I figured as much, being a gigantic cybersecurity company, that they wouldn't then compromise our security, but I thought that that was important to say out loud.
And that's all part of the statement of work and the agreements. Yes.
Great. Thank you.
I mean, he means not physical doors and windows.
Yeah, that's an analogy. Yeah, that in putting it in simple cybersecurity terms. Yes.
My 4-year-old is in the background, which you might have heard. I may have missed this, but the quantity says 160. I'm curious, where does that go?
Those are the hours.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, are there any other questions?
I don't know.
All right, thank you very much.
That's all I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Catalano. Okay, so are we comfortable? I didn't take a sort of a vote as we were going, but are we comfortable moving through all of these and recommending them to the full board?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just toggling back and forth. And may we please have Mr. Copeland to give us an update on lead testing?
Morning. I'll be
Morning.
providing our annual update on the Act 39 testing for lead in drinking water. You can go to the next slide, please. So the requirements per section 742 state, beginning in the school year 2018-2019, facilities where children attend school may be tested for lead levels in drinking water or shall, at a public meeting, discuss lead issues in the school facilities. Lower Merion School District's implementation of this, we perform annual testing. We started back in 2016, with the exception of the 2019-2020 year due to the lockdowns. And we discuss the issue at this facilities and purchasing meeting every year. Next slide, please. So our existing program was developed with the regional EPA staff and our environmental consultants, Element Environmental. And our program was designed to test all the point sources of drinking water on a 3-year cycle. We're currently in the fourth overall cycle, the first year of the fourth overall cycle. Next slide, please. So in the first year of this program, back in 2016, Lower Merion School District replaced 2 failed water fountains. And since then, no results have been above the EPA action level. As we manage the facilities, on a daily, weekly, yearly basis and need to make upgrades, all new plumbing fixtures, fountains, valves, and backflow preventers are certified lead-free. And our standard for replacement fountains also includes the filter cartridges. Next slide, please. So this year, we conducted our sampling for testing in late May of 2026, while all buildings were fully occupied. All the results of this year's sampling were below the EPA action level. And as a part of the ongoing maintenance and upkeep, we flush and cycle our water systems. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. So we're 10 years strong.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from the board? This seems very straightforward to me. I appreciate that we are doing it and that we're discussing it. Are there questions from the community?
I do not see any questions. Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And are there other questions?
I want to ask if there's questions regarding any other topics.
Yep, I was just about to ask.
And I think you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. It shows.
No, you're not. You were
okay.
I could hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions from the community?
I'm having trouble hearing you. I'm sorry. Can anybody else hear Abby?
I can.
My apologies. If there are no other questions from the community.
Shannon has a question. Shannon Knight.
Oh, thank you.
No worries.
Miss Knight.
My apologies. I couldn't find the raise hand button. It was hidden.
You got it.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon Knight. I'm the director of BC Applause at, Bala Cynwyd Middle School's theater program. I live in Wynwood, and my daughter graduated with the LM class of 23. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the board for prioritizing the update of BC's sound system. As expected, the audio problems persisted during last Saturday's comedy show that we put on, Saturday Nights Live. Does anyone have a sense of the timeline for the overall technical updates? By that, I mean the immediate sound work that I know you're considering, as well as the longer term plans for the interrelated presentation and performance systems, such as the lighting and rigging, since it all has to work together. And again, thank you so much for getting this on your radar and continuing to pursue all these updates.
Thank you very much, Ms. Knight. So I'll ask Mr. Orlando, Mr. Copeland to chime in if I miss anything here. Work like this, as you probably understand, takes some months, right? For us, we want to make sure we secure the right quotes, so we do everything according to code and get the best price for our district, along with the best work. So we are in the process of obtaining these quotes. We know that once we secure a quote and award a bid, we're probably looking at a couple of months, before the company gets the materials, and then 2, 3, 4 week install, depending on if they run into any problems like that. So we are looking at maybe a fall install, maybe late October, November. I don't want to say a month where we could lock ourselves into, because I don't want to be wrong. And I don't want to disappoint anybody if it doesn't come to fruition. I do want to say that I appreciate the gentleman on the screen who worked really hard to do this. as you put it, one of our meetings, Miss Knight, this has been on a mysterious list for a long time. Well, I didn't like that. So we attacked it right away. We made sure this is a priority for us. And unfortunately, though, as with many upgrades for materials like this, it takes a little bit of time. So do I have a timeline? No. I'm hopeful the ones I laid out are realistic. But I don't want to disappoint anybody in saying that we're going to do something by a certain date and not be able to get it done.
What is the actual plan? Is there a written out plan of what is being done? Beyond the timeline itself, is there a written plan of what is actually going to be replaced and how it's going to be replaced and what the components are that are being looked at? What's the actual plan?
Yeah, we've asked for certain quotes for a certain scope of work from these companies. I don't know those off the top of my head. I apologize. Maybe Bob Copeland could talk a little bit about that. But there's a lot of detail in that request for a proposal.
Is it possible to see the request for proposal?
Probably not right now. Once the scope is awarded, then you'll be able to do that. We did take into consideration your comments and your desires. We made sure that we were at the facility. We got all the requirements that you needed, and we worked from there.
And Dr. Rinaldi, that scope of proposal, when it will go through facilities, so it will be presented at this meeting. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So it will be here in public.
Okay, so we'll follow this and hope we have an update to share in the fall, and maybe before if possible. Ms. Knight, do you have another question?
One real quick question. Once the scope, once the proposals are presented or you get the quotes back, is there opportunity to change what is done within those quotes, or is it pretty much we're locked into what the plan is at this point?
Vic, could you answer that, please?
Well, there's a scope that's been presented through the IT department. The vendor will, provide his proposal quotes on it, and for some reason, if the board changes the quote, they'll have to go back to the vendor again. They'll have to redo their quote and everything. So that may delay the project. So there's an opportunity, but to let you know, if the scope is changed any manner, it's going to delay the project because we'll have to go back and redo all their numbers.
But we can't see what that scope is at this point?
Mr. Catalano, I don't.
No, we're not going to begin to share, scopes of projects with, community members. I apologize for that, but that would be really difficult for us to do on a continuous basis, and we wouldn't want to do it for this case and not be able to do it to everything else. So, we did what the scope is similar to what we did at Welsh Valley in 21 or 22. So we think that that project came out really nicely according to the community and what we have on the screen here. So you're going to have to trust that we hit all the buckets.
All right, well, thank you. We will keep an eye on it and hope to have an update. I'm crossing my fingers that it's even sooner than late fall, and hopefully so. But thank you for continuing to advocate for our students and being able to and giving of yourself and your time and making this happen for everyone. Are there other questions from the community?
I do not see any raised hands.
Okay. If there are no other questions, I would like to conclude the meeting. Thank you all very much. Happy summer. We will have our next meeting on Thursday, August 13th. It'll also be on Zoom at 9 a.m. And thank you all and happy summer.